I'm a Seattle native. I was born at the University of Washington Hospital. My father was a Black Panther. He was also part of SNCC. My mother was part of the Black feminist movement and the Black Power movement in the late 60s and the 70s. My grandfather's name is Arthur A. Fletcher. He is considered the grandfather of affirmative action. He was also paralegal on Brown versus Board of Education. There is an old history in Seattle which is totally clear. You have Black folks, Hispanic, Pacific Islanders, Filipino, Hawaiians, Samoans, Chinese, Japanese. We have a very unique community here, but it doesn't seem to be represented by the collective voice that we see on the streets yesterday. I was pretty ashamed of my pseudo-liberal Seattle, which I was raised. I saw two powerful Black women who I know, who I go to school with, get up on stage and use the microphone for a voice that has long since been silenced in the Northwest. Yeah. Not only do I commend them for their power and I commend them for their strength, but I say that it's amazing to have the balls to get up and lend a voice to say that which has long been silenced. We're providing jobs for technology, just like there were jobs that were being provided for Boeing, but those jobs and the demographics and the economic equality is not being passed out equally. It's not being shared. In addition to the fact that you think about the legacy of affirmative action for my own people, I'm surprised that a state that would come to a collective voice for same-sex marriage and also to give voice to read and see that this is the same state that would get rid of affirmative action. This is a policy that would ensure that everybody has a chance to go to university. Everybody has a chance for an education. And everybody has a chance for a job. Because we are living in a white, patriarchal, imperialist, supremacist society and a system. And this system has been oppressing Black and brown people for long, far too long. 2 weeks ago, on 23rd and Union, I was stopped by SPD for the 5th time since February, since moving back into my family home since 1974. I've been living in Germany for 8.5 years, and I've been stopped by the German police once in 8 years, coming back from Amsterdam. Go figure. But 5 times since February, on foot, because I don't look like a Black cis female, because I don't dress like a girl, because I'm wearing my anti-flag black hoodie. Some of the excuses that they gave was walking suspiciously. That does not exist. The 3rd time that I was stopped, I was standing across the street from Ike's, the new weed shop a la Hollywood, New York, with roped off lights, all shiny and perky. But I remember the days in the 90s and in the 80s when they had the Winnebago, both on 23rd and Union and 23rd and Cherry, where Clinton's policy was to get 3 strikes, you're out, and you go to prison, and it affected 14, 15, and 16-year-old youth that were going to prison. So now that weed is legalized, where are all the Northwest liberals to ensure that those kids that went to prison under these 3 strikes, you're out policy can get out of prison? It's so so sad to say. I cannot tell you how many colorful friends that I have, how many beautiful people I know. Growing up, I went to the elementary school at the end of the Ave, University Heights Progressive. That was like Nova back in the day. Summit K-12.
I went there.
But the problem is that we're so used to coexisting with these liberal masks. We're so existing with this facade of unity and solidarity that when you see the actions of two people get up and give voice to those that are being continuously oppressed every single day, then the masks come off. And then you see who is who standing next to you. One of the quotes that I heard today when I went to a Bernie Sanders meeting to find out what their position was about what happened yesterday. One person said that while they were standing in the crowd, they heard a white cis male say, "Well, I hope that they're next by the police brutality." This are the kinds of actions that will do nothing more than be the detriment of a candidate that some of these liberals
They said they were
propose to hold up as their poster boy.
Right.
One of the problems that I have with Bernie Sanders' campaign is that you do not come to the Northwest and ask us to come to you. You need to come to us. We are existing in the problems that are epistemic of the Northwest. We are the ones that are suffering from the disproportionate economics and the disproportionate unemployment that is happening based on technology. A technology that should be able to facilitate all of us, really. Our school systems, Garfield, wow, really? We're having problems with education at Garfield? Is this where Quincy Jones went to school? Is this where Jimi Hendrix went to school and got kicked out for holding hands with a white woman? Is this the Northwest that I grew up in? I'm sad. You know, if Bernie's gonna be the candidate, then somebody needs to tell him to pay attention to all of those grassroots organizations that have long existed before he decided that he wanted to take on the presidency. Because I tell you what, if you cannot handle two strong women getting up on stage to voice their opinions, then you cannot handle being the president of the United States. Are not savvy enough and not smart enough to go into the international district and speak to the old Chinese community, the old Korean community, the old Japanese community, the new East African community, the Samoan community, the Hispanic community, the black community. If they cannot reach out to the communities that are being affected by the oppression that happens in the fake neoliberal Northwest, then you have no business coming here and telling us who to vote for and how to use our voices. I just wanted to speak on that before they take over and get on ready with the march. But I urge you all, really, on the Facebook and on the Twitter, some of us go through tireless hours of trying to counter and rebuttal every single comment that comes on there. And believe me, my heart has been broken by some people who I've called my friends for years that still have it wrong. I am using the colonizers' language right now to express my anger and anguish and tiredness. So I feel that it is really your responsibility to learn our history of the backs and the free labor that have been pushed in and the oppression and the deaths of Native and Indigenous children. that has been part of the evil legacy of the United States since the formation in the Middle Passage.
That's right.
It is your responsibility to educate yourselves just as much as it is our responsibility to pass learning all that Hemingway had to say. Learn your history. And if you want to know what to do, and if your friends need to know what to do, and your grandparents need to know what to do, they need to be involved in grassroots organizations and put their walking shoes on and hit the pavement.
Yes. Yes.
Please.